Hey, I just finished doing my wrap up. So I want to do a check-in. This is my first video for December reading for kind of low-key Vlogmas. I'm going to do 4 kind of life reading vlog type things. So I'm just I haven't finished anything. It's December 1st. But I'm gonna check in and show you the things that I have started reading and just let you know how I feel about them at the moment. Let's see here. I'm getting myself organized. I started reading in kind of my old style, where I'm reading multiple books at the same time. Reading a certain page amount a day. Right now I'm just focused. I haven't broken them into chunks or anything, but I am focusing on trying to read about 1 chapter or 20-ish pages if the chapters are weird, from each thing a day. So I've started 6 books at once. Which is normal for me. Well, it's normal for old me. It hasn't been normal for me for a while, but it's normal for old me. And then I'm also reading each day from either a glove shop in Vienna or a Little House Christmas Treasury. And each day I am reading from Watch for the Light, Readings for Advent and Christmas. That Advent book started on November 24th. And so I've been doing that for quite some time. And then I've started a little bit early, but I read 1 story so far from a glove shop in Vienna and 1 from Little House Christmas Treasury. So the first one I read in a glove shop in Vienna was, it was kind of sad, but also kind of hopeful. It's about a little girl who is basically forced to grow up and realize, like, fantasies aren't real. But it's set at Christmas, and it, like, is worked around Christmas, and it'll break your heart, but also rebuild it. It was really good. I liked it a lot. And then this one was the first Christmas in the series of books, which takes place in the big woods. And it's the one where family comes, the cousins come, they make the molasses candy in the snow, and they hear the story of the panther that almost eats their aunt, but the dog prince saves her. And you hear about how Laura gets a doll, and all the food that they eat, and how they warm the furs and the blankets and things to pack around the visiting family when they decide it's time to go home. How Pa plays the fiddle, and just all those things that if you grew up reading these books, you associate with these books. It was warm, it was feel good, it was wholesome. Yeah, it was lovely. Then I have the 6 books that I'm reading. I'm also reading, I've just mentioned this in my wrap up for November, but I'm halfway through an audiobook about the Porter sisters, who were contemporary authors to Jane Austen, 2 women who we don't really read anymore. If you want to know more about them and that book, please watch my wrap up. I talk about it near the beginning of the wrap up, but I'm listening to that as well as these 6 books. So I started The Women of Chateau Lafayette by Stephanie Dray, and I'm about 30 pages in, maybe 50 pages in. Where am I? 30. I'm about 30 pages in, and I love this book. I love it. And in fact, today it's a snow day, and I plan on spending it with this book mostly. This is historical fiction. It takes place in Chateau Lafayette, and right now it is about Marthe Simeon, a French school teacher, an aspiring artist in the 1940s. She is an orphan who has grown up at Chateau Lafayette. She was raised there. She wants to be an artist, but there's no money for her. They keep giving these scholarships, but they give all the scholarships to boys who want to go into, like, the sciences and engineering and stuff. And so she is an artist, and she doesn't get any of that. She's basically encouraged to just grow up and get married. She is in love with another boy who also attended the school and grew up at Chateau Lafayette. He has a mother who is still alive, who he is still in direct contact with, frequent contact with, but his father has passed away, and I think in World War I. And so he is unable to, or his mother's unable to raise him. So he's raised in Chateau Lafayette. Right at the beginning of the book, he proposes to her, and she has a hard time accepting that, but he gets called to war. To World War II. So she accepts his proposal. So he is off in war times, and she is in Vichy, France, as a school teacher with really kind of forward-thinking ideas about society and womanhood and equality. She's just been asked to change because Lafayette, obviously, Chateau Lafayette is dedicated to the memory of Lafayette, who was a revolutionary who helped start and fan the flames for revolutions in both France and the United States. And that doesn't fit with the Vichy government that is very much in line with Hitler. And so she has just been hired by the Baroness, the woman who currently owns Chateau Lafayette, who houses the school there and all of these things. She has just been hired by her to take much of the focus of Chateau Lafayette off of Lafayette and put it onto his wife. As an artist, she's being commissioned basically to create sculptures and paintings and things like that that would take the focus off of the original Lafayette, who was all about freedom and equality, and put it on his unassuming, very kind of domestic-centered wife, which is the assumption. However, I know that the next chapter is going to introduce us to her. I think her name is Adrienne, and we are finally going to meet her. So we're going to go from the 1940s back to the 1700s, and I'm excited about that. The writing in this book is just... oh, it's so good. I love it. I felt drawn in immediately, and that doesn't always happen for me with historical fiction. I love the first character. I think I'm going to love all three of the women who are going to be featured in this, and I'm really excited. I also started reading Mary Kay Andrews' The Santa Suit, and I am loving this one too so much. So this woman has just gotten divorced, and she's moved from Atlanta to a small town, I think in North Carolina, somewhere in there, kind of sight unseen, an old 100-year-old farmhouse. She wanted to buy somewhere where she could raise chickens because she had a beloved aunt who raised chickens. When she gets to the farmhouse, she realizes that it's not quite what she thought it would be. She has to keep calling the realtor dude, who of course is going to be a love interest, but she has to keep calling the realtor dude like she can't figure out how to turn the heat on. The key won't work in the lock. Why is the house full of the previous owner's furniture? Just all sorts of things going on. And because the house is full of the previous owner's furniture, she finds a Santa suit. It's a really beautiful Santa suit. And she learns that the original owner of the house and his wife played Mr. and Mrs. Claus for hospitals and children, like orphanages and stuff all over that part of the United States. Tucked in the pocket is a letter from a little girl saying, "Santa, I want a puppy, but more than that, will you please bring my father home from the war?" And they make the assumption that her dad is fighting in Vietnam, and she becomes a little bit irrationally obsessed with trying to find this girl to know if her father came home from the war or not. So it is about a woman refinding herself, reinventing herself after a divorce, and kind of moving from the city to the country and kind of becoming who she really is and who she was really meant to be. But also it is the story of this little girl who is obviously probably many decades older if she's still alive. And the drive, it's not really a mystery, but it's kind of a mystery, like the drive to find out what happened with this little girl's wish for Santa. And I'm loving it so completely. Like, I'm there for it. I also started reading The Starless Sea. I am 45 pages Into the Starless Sea. And I did not know what to expect, but I am so engaged in this book. I am so engaged in it. So I have read 2 or 3, maybe 4 entries about from Sweet Sorrows. 2, I think. I've read The Pirate and the Woman, and I've read The Acolyte. The Acolyte is going to stick with me forever. I don't know if we will get to go back to The Acolyte at any point, but oh my gosh, that is like so far my favorite part. And I've met, what's his name? Zacharias? I don't know what his name is. I think it's Zachary. So I've met him in 2015, and he has found the book, and he has started reading the book, and he's read the book 4 times. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you need to know. I don't know where this is going. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't know if I'm going to keep loving it for the next 300 pages. But right now, it has my whole mind right now. I absolutely love this book. There is something so magical about it. I think it's going to be a favorite of the year. I think right now, anyway, I think it's going to be a favorite of the year. I don't know how I will feel as it progresses, but right now I have so much hope for this one. The Starless Sea. So much hope for this one. I pulled this off of my November TBR as I can, if I can. There's some books that I feel like reading from my November TBR that I didn't get to, that I think that I can sneak into December. And that one of those is A Psalm for the Wild Built. And I am 2 chapters in, and that means that I am 50 pages in to this very short little novella. And I like it, but I don't love it. And I'm a little disappointed in myself about that. Like, I feel disappointed because I think that I built this up really high in my mind, and it's not quite what I thought it would be. However, they just ran into the robot for the first time. So maybe things will get a little bit better for me at that point. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, it feels a little boring. I mean, I was engaged. I really loved the first chapter. I did. The second chapter was really hard for me to get through. And maybe that's just because in light of the other 3 books that I just told you about, that I'm really loving and really engaged in and really excited about, this one is just average. I don't know. Maybe by the end, I'm going to feel differently. But right now, this is pretty low on my interest list. I'm going to finish it, though. It's very short. I am reading Just Like Magic, and this book makes me laugh out loud. I am just 50 pages, 49 pages into this one. It is about a former very popular influencer who has kind of fallen from grace. She's been canceled, and she has lost all of her money in very poor decisions, yet she can't reveal that to her family. Her family, she sees them as all very high achieving, very successful, very financially secure, like extremely financially secure, like ridiculously financially secure. She hasn't revealed to them that she is squatting in a house in the same town that her grandparents live in, and that she's illegally squatting in this house. She was house sitting for this woman who died at like 9 months previous, and nobody has come to claim the house. Like, apparently this old woman who died in Florida on a vacation, which is why this girl was house sitting for her in the first place, didn't have anybody. And so the house remained untouched, so she's just continued to live there. But she has stopped paying bills because she doesn't have any income. She's pretending that she has sponsorships on social media to try and get other sponsorships, but she's made all of these sponsorships up. She has no income, no influence, and people are talking about her less and less and less on social media, and this is really concerning to her. She gets drunk one night and she accidentally plays a Mariah Carey vinyl backwards, and it summons, through a very technicality of some kind of law of the universe, it summons the holiday spirit who embodies itself as a male, kind of life-size Ken doll. And he's there, and he can grant her any wish that she wants, except that he's kind of more elf than Ken. And so everything she asks for, he's like, well, I'll give this to you, but it's better this way. Like, she wants some kind of fancy car, and instead he gives her like a 1950s red pickup truck that issues like raspberry cookies from the glove compartment instead of like the Ferrari or whatever she wanted. And he's like, it's better. Because his job is to revive in her the Christmas spirit. And her wishes are all about re-establishing herself as this very rich, very wealthy, very social influencer, popular type woman who shows up her family and, all of this. She's very selfish, very self-centered, very materialistic. And he is the opposite of all those things. And so it is laugh out loud funny. It is so funny. You know where it's going. There's no surprise here, I don't think. Like, I'll be very surprised if there's a surprise. But it is joy and cheer and laughter. The character of Hall, the holiday spirit, he goes by Hall. The character of Hall is just perfect. Just perfect. This is going to be one of my favorite Christmas books ever, I think, if it continues on as is. And I'm loving it. And finally, I am also rereading Charles Dickens. It is the Dickens Along, Katie from Books and Things, Dickens Along book for the month of December. We only have 1 month to read this one, but that's okay because it's Oliver Twist. It's quite short. And I am loving it. I am 53 pages in. I'm on chapter 7. I'm absolutely loving it. It's my third read in the last 2 years of Oliver Twist. It has aspects of one of my favorite Dickens novels. Like, it is, parts of it are favorites of mine. And then parts of it I really don't like. But I do love the character of Oliver. And I do love Charles Dickens' first, like, encounter or first creation. Like, the whole story revolves around coincidence, and so much of Charles Dickens' future work will also revolve around coincidence. And I like this first glimpse at his foray into coincidence. So I am really enjoying my reread of Oliver Twist. What I want is to read Chateau Lafayette right now. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and happy ushering in of the Vlogmas, Bookmas, Christmas, Holidaymas, whatever you celebrate-mas season. And you'll see me again in about a week with another update on what I finished, what I'm reading, what I'm loving, how I'm feeling about these books, and some holiday things that might have happened. Yeah. Bye for now. Let's go read.